So let me catch you. So let me catch you slipping by. Why do I get myself? Why do I get myself caught up in these lonely nights? Oh, why? Why do I get myself? Why do I get myself caught up?
Hey you guys, welcome back to my channel. This is your girl Fabulous C coming to you with another video. So I'm back with this new sew-in video, but this time I'm going to be doing the frontal closure piece. I just want to show you guys how I install my sew-in frontal, how I customize it before putting it on my head. But before we get into the video, I'm going to give you guys a little details about this hair. This hair is from a company off of Alixepress. They're called Sugar Virgin Hair. I want to believe I also did a review for this company before in the past. I will leave links in the description box for my first video that I've done of this company. But this is their Malaysian straight hair. They sent me 3 bundles of hair plus a frontal piece. They sent me 2 16-piece lengths, and then they send me 1 14 piece length, and the lace frontal is actually a 16 length also. So this is the hair. This is how it looks. It looks pretty soft, it looks pretty good, and this is their Malaysian straight. That's why it has no wave pattern to it. So before we do anything with the sew-in, we first want to customize the lace frontal piece. Now the first step to customizing my lace closure piece, just to make my lace look more natural when I do have to part my lace, so the parting space matches my scalp more perfectly, I'm going to be bleaching the knots on the closure piece. And for this process, I'm going to be using the Clara BW2 bleach with 40% developer. Now for this mixture, I'm going to need a thick consistency because I do not want the bleach to seep through the lace and get on the hair itself. So I'm going to be mixing a very thick consistency. I'm going to mix 2 parts of the bleach with 1.5 scoop of the developer. This will just give me a thick consistency that I will be able to apply it to the lace without it seeping through to the hair. And now that I have my very thick consistency, as you guys can see, I'm going to apply it to the lace, but I'm going to apply it with a very light hand. I'm just going to apply it lightly to the lace frontal. I don't want the bleach to seep through the lace and get on the hair. I just want it on the top of the lace. And once after I apply the bleach entirely to the entire frontal, this is how it's supposed to look. As you guys can see, every spot of it is covered. I'm going to take aluminum foil and I will just place it over it and let it sit for about 5 to 10 minutes to let the bleach process. After that, I move on to the shampoo bowl. I go ahead and I shampoo and I condition it, and then we move on to the next step. Now after I'm done conditioner and shampoo the closure, I move on to the next step, and the next step is tweezing the frontal. As you guys can see, the frontal hairline looks full and thick, and it looks very unnatural. So I'm going to go in and I'm going to pin the frontal down to my mannequin head, and I'm going to take my tweezer and I'm going to tweeze in between it. This process just helps make your frontal looks natural. You can cut out some baby hairs to make baby hair, and it just makes your frontal looks a little bit realistic than if you was to leave it full and thick like this.
Myself. Why do I get myself?
Now for the tweezing process, depending on how you want your front to look, you got to be careful when you do tweeze out hair. You don't want to give your frontal any type of bald spot. You got to be extremely careful when you tweeze out the hair, and this takes a while. It took me at least an hour to get my results that I wanted, but it could take you longer depending on what you're doing and how fast you're going. Excuse me, that's my son. He came in to talk to me while I was doing this. Anyway, once you finish with the frontal and the tweezing of it, this is how it's supposed to look. You can go more if you choose to, depending on your desire, but it should look something like this. And now once you have the desired amount of hair off your closure, you can go more if you choose to. For me, I love the way it is now. As you guys can see, it looks really natural, parting it on a mannequin. You can see through the frontal piece. It doesn't look bulky, it looks natural, and this was the desired look that I was looking for. Now the next step to customizing this closure, I'm going to add some baby hair. Baby hair just make it look a little more realistic. And if you don't have edges or thin edges or less edges like mine's is, frontal is definitely one of your go-to things that you should look into, because it gives you that natural hairline, and depending on how you customize it, it can look as natural as possible. So in doing this step, you can use any type of razor, like I'm using an eyebrow razor right now, shaving razor, or you can use regular cutting scissors or anything that cuts to give you your little bit of baby hair. You just want to part a little section of hair through the front, and you just want to slice it off, making your frontal look a little more realistic. And now after all is said and done, this is how much hair I took off the closure. As you guys can see, that's a lot of hair, but you got to get in there and remove those hair just to get your closure to look as natural as possible. Oh, hey y'all, as you guys can see, I'm cleaned up and ready to start this sewing. You guys see my edges already. But anyway, my hair is braided going towards the back. I applied some got to be glue gel around my edges, and I went ahead and I applied my weaving net just for extra support. And now it's time for me to apply my frontal to my head. The first thing I want to do is measure my frontal piece to my head, making sure it's the exact fit. And usually most frontal are big for my head. Depending on the size of your head, you might not, or you might have to cut your size of your frontal. I start from the middle of my head, and then I measure my closure piece. Now to do this might be challenging or difficult for you, especially if you're doing it on yourself. So the easier way I do it is apply one clip to one side of my ear, holding the frontal down, and then I go move on to the other side. I take a pencil. You can use any type of pencil or eyebrow pencil, regular pen, whatever, and I go ahead and I mark off the spot between my ears, just to make sure I have the exact cut when I do take the frontal down from my head. I do that to one side, then I go ahead and I move on to the next side and do the exact same thing. And once I have my exact measurement for my closure piece, I go ahead and I cut off all the extra lace off. Now, after cutting all the extra lace off, this is how the closure supposed to look. Now, the next thing I'm going to apply to this closure is the elastic band. Using the elastic band helps lay your closure down extremely flat before you do your sewing, and you don't have to worry about it moving back or shifting. It helps secure and it keeps your frontal in place while you do your sewing. This is why I always apply the elastic band. And now the next thing I'm going to do is apply the elastic band to the frontal piece. But before I do that, I like to measure the elastic band first. You can use any type of measuring tape if you choose to. For me, I just go from ear to ear towards the back of my head, and I measure it and I cut off the piece that is the exact shape to my hair from the back. Next, I go in and I divide that into two different pieces. I cut it, I split it in the middle. Reason being is you want the elastic band to stretch, so you don't want to have too much extra elastic. It's not going to make the closure, the frontal lay as flat, and it's not going to make the closure be secure. So you want to have a precise tightness. It can be a little bit too tight depending on how you cut. Just be careful. But for me, I like mine to be tight. So I'm going to split it directly in the middle, and then I'm going to cut it off. And now I'm going to take the elastic band and attach it to the frontal piece, and I'm going to use my needle and thread to tack it down. Once the elastic band is attached to my frontal piece, my customized closure is ready to be put on. This is how it's supposed to look. Now it's ready to be put on to get sewn down. Once the closure is down on my head, now I'm ready to sew. Now how I start sewing my frontal from the back, and I start from in the middle. I start from the middle just to give me a precise middle setting that I know that is on the right angle, and then I start to stitch from middle down towards my ear. And as I stitch, put the needle and thread in, I also pulling the frontal, making sure that it's not crumbling up, making sure that it is as flat as I'm sewing down. I'm going to do this side, then I'm going to work my way to the other side, starting from the middle and work my way down to my ears.
So let me catch you, so let me catch you slipping by. Why do I get myself?
Now want to make sure that my frontal is securely down to my head, and making sure that the front part of it is not going to lift. I usually just put a tiny roll on one of my braids, and I take a needle and thread and I sew a thin line on the parting space just to secure the frontal down in the front.
Why do I get myself caught up in these lonely...
After that, my lace closure piece is secure down on the top of my head. It's not going to shift, it's not going to move, it's in place and is ready to go. Next, I'm going to start to apply the bundles to the back of my hair. Now I have 3 bundles, so I'm going to try to squeeze everything in the back of my head. Starting with the first track, I go in with a single bundle and I start to apply the track from my ear, from one side of my ear to the other side of my ear, and I sew extremely close to the braids in the back. And once you have your first track sewn down onto the band, as you guys can see, it's tagged, the band is tagged down nicely. You can see how neatly this track is sewn down. Even though I don't have a 360 frontal, I don't have a lace frontal in the back, I can still be able to pull this up. I just need to brush my little hairs back there and be able to pull this up. It still will look neat. Next, once you put your first track in and your elastic band is sewn down, you're going to want to take a scissor and you want to cut the extra band off. This will just help release some tension if you have any type of tension back there. And after that, I'm just going to apply the rest of the hair. But while applying this hair in the same direction, I'm going to be using the double tracks. I'm going to be doubling my tracks to apply this weave because I do have 3 bundles and the space is limited. And now that I have 2 bundles in, you can see the hair is getting fuller. I'm just going to continue sewing till I get to my last track. Now this is my last piece and this is the only space that I have left. So I'm going to apply the last piece and I'm going to sew it down towards the closure. And once I have my last track sewn down to my frontal piece, as you guys can see, that is it. My sewing is complete. It looks flawless. I'm loving it. The hair feels very nice and soft. This is their Malaysian straight hair. I put in 3 bundles and I have in a frontal piece. The hair feels amazing. Well, I did cut my tracks, so I know I'm going to expect some type of shedding because I did cut my tracks because I want my frontal to lay as flat as possible. Anyway, that is it. As you guys can see, I'm done with my flawless frontal sew, and I'm just going to get to the styling of this hair. The first thing I'm going to be using is my Got To Be glue gel, and I'm going to use it and slick down my baby hairs, okay? And once I'm done slicking down the baby hair, I'm just going to show you a couple of ways that you can style it. If you want to leave it just like it is and wear it in a cute little bun or up down style, you can definitely leave it like that. And as you can see, I can part my hair anyway. That's the nice thing about having a lace frontal. You can be able to part your hair any place that you like, any side of your head. It's a very versatile closure piece, and it just makes your hairline look natural. It makes you have edges if you don't have edges. It gives you flawless look. So I really like it, and you can see I can be able to part it and do whatever I want with it. I can also be able to put it in a ponytail if I wanted to. So yes, this is just few of the ways that you can definitely style and rock your lace frontal, your sew-in lace frontal if you choose to. But you can do it as many styles as you want that you can get it into. It's very versatile. But as for me, I'm going to finish up with this hairstyle. I'm going to give this hair a little bit of shape with my shears, my scissors. I'm going to cut a little bit of layers. And of course, I'm going to take my flat iron. I'm going to flat iron the entire hair, just making it straight and silky. And then I'm going to just take my big curly iron and I'm going to put 3 or 4 curls just on the top of my head, just to give me that swoop side bang. But that is pretty much it for this hairstyle. Thank you guys so much for hanging out and watching my videos. As always, thank you for subscribing to my channel. Don't forget to check out Sugar Virgin Hair Company. I will leave links in the description box for this hair company. I will come back with a 3 or 4 weeks review stating my thoughts of this hair. As always, I love you guys, and if you haven't subscribed, don't forget to subscribe. I will catch you all in my next video. Bye-bye.
So let me catch you, so let me catch you slipping by.